What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the UI Buzz podcast. I have a good friend with me today, and we are doing the thing that we like to do every year. We're talking about WWDC, but first of all, Leo, introduce yourself, buddy, and how are you?
Hey Peter, long time no see.
Yeah, buddy.
I run BreakDigit. I've been doing Swift development since day one. I've been doing software development for 25 years and just happy to do this again after so many years.
Yeah.
And doing it remotely. This is the first dub I haven't attended in like 3 years. So excited to be here remotely.
Well, I know you're very busy, and I want to point out, folks, Leo puts out a lot of open source stuff out there as well. So there will be lots of links in the show notes.
Thank you.
I saw you frantically updating some repos the other day, so I know you've been busy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's WW26. Here we are. And it's the first day, so we've got the keynote, and then we're going to cover the State of the Union. We will put a link into the show notes for the Empower Apps podcast, which you should already be a subscriber to anyway. And if you're not, you should be. We'll give you the link. But let's talk Keynote, because I think it was a very interesting year in that I saw a lot of comments from my developer friends who are like, oh, that's it. But actually, funny enough, I feel the opposite way about it. Maybe it's because they did this year a lot of the things that I wanted them to do, and we'll work through these here. So let's start right at the top. Of course, let's get the obvious out the way, right? New operating system versions this year, 27. New Xcode, of course, and a whole bunch of things. But let's start by going to Mac OS. And the name this year, I'm not a fan. So it's Mac OS 27 Golden Gate. I don't know, Leo, what do you think? It just doesn't have that ring to it like Tahoe or something like that. But what do you think?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, what they should have done is just have macOS 27 Gate, and then next year come out with macOS 28.
Yeah,
Golden Gate with all the bug fixes of whatever Gate had.
There you
but that's
go.
not because that's usually the pattern, right? With Sequoia, High Sequoia, yeah. It's
Snow
so
Leopard.
strange.
Right?
Snow Leopard, that's the other one. Yep. So they should have done that, but oh well. Yeah.
It's just not gonna settle with me. I mean, I wasn't, I don't know why, and I posted this earlier. For me, they work better when it's just one word. It's just so easy to say it, and it's like, oh, everyone knows what you mean. But I don't know, macOS 27 Golden Gate. It just sounds wrong to me. But hey, they didn't ask me.
We'll get used to it. But it does sound like they're getting at the bottom of the barrel of California names.
Yeah,
it's like yeah.
I joked with someone on my
Mac
Discord.
OS 28 Burbank. It's like, okay, really? Getting at the bottom.
Yeah, so I was joking on my Discord earlier, and I was like, oh, Mac OS 28, the house on the left, or something like that. It's like, what's left,
exactly.
right? Have we gone through 10 years already? Because you remember when they said, like, for the next 10 years, and it doesn't seem like 10 years. But so let's get into some of the details. Like I say, for me, a lot of these things are exciting. I get it. There's nothing massively like wow for the user, but I think that's misunderstood at this stage. Let's start by talking about one of my least favorite topics, liquid glass. But this year, I'm going to say maybe liquid glass done right. You want to talk about that? Because I think they're acknowledging.
What's been your experience with liquid glass?
I hate it. I hated it from day one. I still hate it today. To me, it's a technical demo that should never have left the lab, but that's just my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah.
I actually don't have a lot of opinions about liquid glass. More so on the Mac, I feel like it's not, it doesn't look good. It doesn't work right on the Mac. So hopefully they fix those issues. Otherwise, a lot of people have just kind of been like, well, we're going to just put the flag in and not deal with it. So it's not an issue, but that is going to be an issue now going forward. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I was very happy to see the slider that they showed, and this is interesting in itself, in the fact that they felt they had to address this by showing me literally the setting in the operating system that I'm going to go to,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But immediately I was like, okay, so there's sort of this slider that goes from clear through to fully tinted, is what they're calling it at the moment, but it really should be like opaque or something. I'm
I've
just
enjoyed creating icons with Icon Composer and some
yes,
of the stuff you could do there.
yeah, that's a
So
good
I guess
tool. Yeah.
that's the only thing I could say positive off the top of my head about Liquid Glass. It's like one of those things I have to actually test it to know how well it actually works. And so that's where I'm
I,
like, hopefully they fixed it, but I can't really say until it's in my hands.
right, exactly. And I'm not going to try the beta ones, but I'm basically know I'm going to switch it to fully tinted, get rid of the silly glass effect as much as possible. And I'll be honest, from what they sort of showed, we all know these things change by the time they come out. Sadly, liquid glass wasn't one of them last year, but I think I'm gonna enjoy it more. It's the tweaks like that that kind of had me excited. For the past year, I've been using Mac OS less and using a Linux distro more, partly because I just find it so irritating visually to work with liquid glass. Now, I will say, on the phone is the worst. I just,
Really?
yeah, I can't, like when you're scrolling and everything's just like going through the liquid glass effects, I just can't stand it. So I'm interested to see this. I want to play with it. But I think it's going to make me happier. But we'll see. So there's that. And, that's going to be the most noticeable thing, I think, for users. But they also made a note, some of the things I think is really interesting that they pointed out. Like, it's going to be faster. Of course, it's like everything with Apple, right? Of course it's going to be faster. It's faster every year, whether it's hardware or
Right.
software. But this year they specifically pulled out talking about things that I think, finally it's like, yes, developers understand this. So you want to explain to folks the CPU scheduler and why that matters?
No, I don't. But I mean, from my understanding, they've just optimized the CPU scheduler the way that the OS schedules tasks. And then it's going to affect all phones that support iOS 27. And then some of the newer models have already had the new scheduler, and those are going to be even optimized further. That's my understanding.
Yeah, it's kind of if you watch the charts and that we've seen so far, it's like a sort of intelligence within the system that looks at what you're doing and says,
Yeah.
oh, this needs more of a priority, kind of thing.
Yeah. Great.
But I'm hoping that really comes into play when we're doing real heavy tasks. For us, that means things like compiling an Xcode and that, right?
How about
You know,
yeah, I didn't think of that. I was thinking mostly CPU schedule was like iOS related, but it sounds
I
like
think that's
it's
where it
across
matters the
all
most.
platforms.
Yeah.
Right. And I would be curious if I'm going to put a beta on anything. I'm going to probably put it on my iPad to see
Yeah, I'd be
if it's
curious
any
to
better.
see. Yeah.
But I'd be curious to see how that works with the new OS, assuming it supports it. I didn't actually look. Should look.
Yeah,
I know.
I didn't.
So I know they're not dropping any support for iPhones, but they are dropping support for Apple Watches.
Which is not a great surprise to me, really. I
Right.
think, Apple has always traditionally, at least in my view, had a great history of trying to support as much as they can. And yes, there is a certain level where it's kind of I don't want to say marketing, but a sales thing, right? At some point, they want to convince you to get a new device and that. And so I'm not surprised to see some watches dropped off. That's certainly one of the areas where you see the most rapid progression, I think, still every year. But what are your thoughts on that then?
So like iPad support, they're dropping third gen Pros and below,
Okay.
and they're dropping, yeah, you need a A14 or M1 or later, and then a fourth generation iPad Air. I could
Okay.
totally be wrong, but there's quite the list there. And then no drops for iPhone. But then I recently purchased a used Series 9 Apple Watch, and that's going to not have support for 27. So, lucky me, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it makes sense in a lot of ways. These are the Apple Watch I'm a little bit upset about, but
I
like the
would
other
be. Yeah.
devices, I'm not. Like, they're old. I get it. I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
and it's also interesting. We'll get into it maybe later, but like some of the AI features seem to be staggered for
Mm-hmm.
certain like devices, both Macs and iPhones and iPads.
Yep.
So they're kind of like, yes, they're dropping support for not a lot of devices, but at the same time, they're also dropping support for some of the more advanced AI features.
Right. And actually, I mean, in some ways, some of it makes sense. I think, again, there's kind of the sales aspect, but I suspect also it's a memory thing, right? Some of
Right.
those
That's
older
exactly what it is.
devices, you're not going to load those models. It's just not going to happen. And
Right.
so I can almost sort of forgive them this time. It's like, look, if you really want this stuff and you want it to work, in air quotes, good, yeah, get a newer device. However, I will say it kind of sucks that it's like, wow. So I've got an iPhone 15 Pro and it's perfectly fine and doesn't feel that old. But
Right.
now I feel like
Yeah,
I'm being
that's what I have
punished.
too.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
because what is it? You for some of the more advanced features, you need a 17.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's Tim's last stab at trying to spike the metrics before he moves on, right?
I know, I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of dropped devices, Macs, we're dropping Intel support.
Yeah, okay,
It's
so
done.
let's talk about that here. But we'll probably end up covering it in both, but let's talk about it because it is a significant moment, right? Last
Right,
year, Apple said, "Look, hey, get ready to say goodbye to Intel chips."
right,
This year, they are clearly saying, "Hey, see ya, Intel chips." What I think is interesting about it is, yes, okay, so the macOS 27 will need the Apple Silicon. What I think is perhaps most interesting is that they are now say that about Xcode as well.
right.
It's it's hard for me to know
Because
because I've got Apple
you can
Silicon.
run Xcode 27 on a what's the heck? I don't even know what macOS 26 is called. We could run Xcode on macOS 26, but
Yeah,
if you have Intel, you can't run Xcode on it regardless. Yeah. Okay.
right, right, yeah, and I think that's. I mean, first of all, again, I think, hey, I feel like they've done a pretty good job at supporting Intel this far. I get it. As always, it sucks if you're someone that has those Intel chips.
Right.
But if you think about it, we're also sort of on the fifth generation of Apple Silicon. You've got to let it go at some point. And I think, honestly, I think Apple's been more than generous. And if you are on an Intel chip and you now jump to any of the M chips, you're going to see such a performance boost that you're going to be happy you did it regardless, I think.
Yeah. I don't like. I feel like we live in a different era than when they moved to Intel, to where it's a lot easier. Like, other than the fact that we live in a era of hardware shortage and increasing prices. Like,
Sure.
other than that, like, it's actually pretty easy to get your hands on a Apple Silicon device at this
Yeah.
point. I don't see how that would be a blocker.
Right. And also, I think, now that you mentioned it, you know, if anyone was to ask me, my advice would be get one now before the prices go up, right?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not cheap now, but it's the cheapest it's going to be now for a long time.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know, that kind of thing. Like I've got my M4 Mac Mini, is still my big workhorse. It's still doing fantastically well with 48 gig of RAM. There's no way I could buy that kind of spec these days. That you know, like forget it.
I have
Now I
this
will
M1
say,
Studio with an M1 Ultra,
oh
and yeah, I don't know. I think I'm like stuck with it, both in a good way and a bad way, because I'm
yeah,
sure I could sell it for a lot, but I'm sure I couldn't get a lot from it. Like so,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was really concerned with my M5 MacBook Air and only having the 16. I got to say, it's not been a problem. I haven't even noticed it.
Okay.
If anything, I'm surprised that it's, you know, because it's got no fans in it, and that, as you probably know, I've only one game spiked it up enough that the machine got hot. Other than that, that thing is just fantastic. It never gets hot. So, I mean, it's just amazing, you know. But
You
anyway,
got an
yeah.
M5 MacBook Air 15-inch?
Yes. Yep, got it
Yeah,
right
that's
here.
what I have too. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
I mean, I just was like, you know what? I totally can do development on this. I didn't intend to, but I totally can. You know. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I'm not concerned about the 16 gig of RAM unless they get really crazy with the models. And then,
Right.
okay, you know.
Right.
All right. Yeah.
So I want to talk about a couple of things I like.
Go for it. Yeah.
And this involves networking. So I recently spoke at Swiftcraft, did the whole travel there, come back here, using different SIM cards, using crappy Wi-Fi, crappy cell networks as I travel, and sometimes messages don't get sent. The smart networking stuff and just the send indicator are both things that I am excited to see in iOS, because the way the way messages sends messages and like shows the actual like progress sucks. And sometimes you don't even know that a message wasn't sent. And then
Right.
also this ability to know when to switch between Wi-Fi and cellular is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
So I am really looking forward to that as a user.
I am absolutely with you on this, especially for the send indicators, because it happens to me more often than I think it should in some areas. But yeah, you send a message, you think it's gone because it gives you no indication there's a problem. And then at some point in the future, it decides, you know what, that didn't go. I should tell you about that.
Right.
So I'm real like, yeah, please, if you can just make that smoother and more responsive as far as it did go, it didn't go, and not leave me guessing, that's huge. Especially if you're doing something and you reply quickly, you sort of just assume it went, right? You
Right.
know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having this issue right now where I can't do SMS off my Mac, and I can't figure out for the life of me why I have this issue all of a sudden, and it drives me crazy. So I'll
Interesting.
think I'll send a message, and because it's supposed to forward to the iPhone, and
Yeah.
nope. So yeah,
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I
we'll
send
see.
more messages from my Mac than I do my phone, because you know me, I hate the on-screen keyboard. So
Right.
I love that I can just use a normal keyboard and do it on my Mac all the time.
yep, I'm with
Yeah.
you 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
So before we get into other niceties, what else did you like about what's coming out in iOS or Mac OS or any of those services, platforms?
Yeah, I am, we'll talk about it heavily in our next one, but I'm very interested in just how good all the new AI tech is going to be. Because, especially on a Mac, for example, I'm someone who just thought shortcuts was going to be the savior of my universe. And yet here I am today, and I still don't use it because it's horrible to build them. So, and I should say, I use third-party tools like Hazel and Keyboard Maestro and things like that because it's
Okay.
easier to make them. So I'm very, very interested in being able to, let's just sort of say, audibly program shortcuts.
Right.
If that works, I think that'll be huge for power users. What do you think?
Yes, that would be really nice. Because, like, we know the whole workflow shortcuts story is a big part of Siri, so having that attached to Apple Intelligence will be really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, especially I added a new feature that I'm just about to release into the store for my Job Finder Tracker app, where you can use, you can use the share sheet to send, like you're looking at a LinkedIn job or something, and you can hit the button
Okay,
to send it to Job Finder Tracker. It'll take from that the information it can, and now make the job listing in my app for you.
that's amazing.
And yeah, I didn't. What sort of brought it home was the realization of, wait, it's an app intent, right? And then, so that combined, and of course with the app intents, it's like, oh wait, that's a shortcut as well. So I suddenly became very well aware of sort of the importance of the thing that I hadn't done for my users,
Right,
right?
right.
And so if Apple can help me do that better, fantastic. I'm all about giving that a go. So for me, that's the big one. For the photo enhancement stuff, as you
I'm a
know,
little
and
bit skeptical about
yeah,
that.
I
And I
mean,
know it's funny because I know Google's been really pushing it on Android. And like, I'm like, okay. I mean, that doesn't really convince me. Like, and I'm also a little bit hesitant. Like, even the photos we take now are not exactly true. If you know what I mean.
yeah,
So like,
yeah.
just adding another layer of that, I'm like this feels really creepy, and I'm not a big fan of it.
I'm really torn because,
Right.
as you know,
Me too.
Leo, I was a photographer for many years, right? And it it bothers me in the sense of, okay, yet more software tools to fix my lack of creativity when I took the picture. Right.
Right.
In other
Right.
words, but on the flip side, I also look at it and go, like yourself, right? If you're someone with kids and things like that, and you're like, oh, that's cute, snap, got to get it right now. Think about it
We're not
later.
looking at the camera. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get
That is
that.
something I'm interested in. Yeah, and I think, yeah, it's like it's a fine line, and like, yeah, I agree completely.
It goes back to, gosh, it was, I don't know, more years than I probably care to remember. I was talking with someone who was on another podcast. I can't think what it was. And I was talking to them on Twitter. Remember Twitter, everybody? And
I believe it's
I
called X.
yes, yeah, X before it finally fades away, right?
Yes,
And I said to them when they were asking me about photography, and I said to them, I think it's the difference between whether you're trying to capture a moment or create a moment, right? If
right.
you're
There you go.
capturing a moment, this is what this is all designed for. If
Yep.
you are, in air quotes, an artist taking a photograph, fine art photography, whatever, you're creating it. You're supposed to take your time, get it right in camera, because that's kind of what I was trained for, and all of that kind of thing, right? But I totally respect the capture it now while you've got the chance.
Right, and like, yeah, the quality of these photos, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I can't believe we all know this, right? Everything you see in an Apple video, question, will it actually end up like that?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you talk about kids, the child control stuff, the
Mm.
improvements to screen time. I am very, very interested to see if
Yeah,
this works
so
because we've had so many issues with screen time and
interesting,
syncing up
interesting.
and approving time and giving access and syncing everything together. Screen time is a mess. So if they fix that and improve upon it, I'll be very happy about that.
I was hoping that I'd get to hear your thoughts on that because it's not something that I need to use, but I wanted to hear from parents. What do you think of this? Because the other thing too
I
is
just
that
don't want it broken. Like,
yeah.
that's all I'm asking for. If it's not broken, like, that'd be fantastic. That would be a huge improvement.
Well, the other thing
So,
too is kids, kids are so smart these days. They know how
yeah.
to get around this stuff more
Yeah,
than
I've heard
it's like the
stories.
VCR thing, right? You get your kid to
Right.
program the VCR. You get your kid to set up the screen time, so they know exactly
Right.
how to get around it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to watch you. I don't want to let my kid watch YouTube, so they'll just. My kids don't do this, but I know kids who like record YouTube on their camera and put it to a photo, and that way they can watch the
Oh,
video anytime.
that's a good
So
idea.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
there's kids find a way.
Yeah.
So,
And for the
but
rest of them, you've just told them exactly how to do it. So
right,
yeah.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. This is a. We'll have to label this as a rated episode, inappropriate episode for children.
That's it.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
All right, cool.
Um,
I'm always do want to say though, I'm always a fan of things that help to try and regulate and control these, because unfortunately, the world we live in, it is all too easy for kids to be exposed to things they shouldn't, or too long on things, and so I think we got to try and do something.
yeah,
Especially social
and
media. Oh my God.
and
I
I
mean,
like that there's an emphasis on giving parents control.
yes.
I think that's a big part of it, and being able to like be looser or more strict with stuff. And hopefully they've improved the interface with website access, because that sucks too. But we'll see.
I am curious, and I wanted to ask you this question when I was watching it earlier, and I thought to myself, "Oh, I must ask Leo." With the new controls, maybe it's with the old ones, but is it possible for you to remotely, like say, like kids, 10 minutes, and 10 minutes comes and goes, and they're still going? Can you
Like screen
remotely?
time. When you go to have you played with screen time for yourself?
I only in the sense of just looking at it to see how much time I've spent on things and knowing that I should not have spent that much time on something.
So you can like set restrictions, right, on certain apps, and then it'll tell you like I have a restriction on YouTube that I had to ignore today because of that. But like you can say only let me do 2 hours, and then when you're done, it'll have a thing. It'll stop the app and basically give you an
Okay.
overlay that says, you know, you're over your limit. Do you want 1 more minute, 15 more minutes, or do you want to just allow it for today? But for kids, it would be like, you can tap a button and it'll send basically a message, like an Apple messenger message asking for approval for more time. And
I
then you get like
gotcha.
a little drop down where you approve it. And it
Okay.
works about 70% of the time.
Oh,
So that's great. When
yeah.
you're trying to give your kid approval and they're like, I don't see anything, and then you got to go to the kid's phone and put in the passcode, and then yeah, it's a
Yeah.
mess. It's a mess.
That kind of sounds like the standard Apple thing, doesn't it? Yeah, it works about 70% of the time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
just with
Exactly.
everything, you ask the developers, like, how good's Xcode? Yeah, it works about 70% of the time.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Yeah, okay. What else have you got?
I mean, you touched on talking about AI. Are we finally going to be in the year 2024 where this stuff actually works? Like, are we going to be in the future of 2024?
Right.
Because, like, I am hopeful that the AI stuff actually works, and Siri actually works. But it's very much, I want to put it in my hands and actually play around with it and
Yeah.
stuff. And I know from what it sounds like, you install the beta, then you have to sign up for a wait list. So for a lot of these features, but we'll see.
Yeah. So my take on it is, we all know, okay, those of us that spend a lot of time with these things all know that the running joke is the disaster of how terrible Apple's intelligence and Siri have been, and numerous times of trying to make it work nice and they just failed. So I applaud them for saying, you know what, yeah, maybe we do need somebody else's help on this. And so it is going to be interesting with Gemini. We'll get into more detailed specifics later on, but it will be on device, so security should be good. But I do feel this is Apple's last chance to get it working. Because it's just been a running joke for so many years at this point that, okay, Apple, you got to get it right. And I really, really want them to, because I want to be able to do the things that it claims that I can. Nothing would please me more than to say, hey, that thing, whatever I need it to do, with the trust that it's actually done it. Whether I'm driving, I'm in the office, I've got headphones on in a store, whatever it may be, that I need to build that trust that it's actually doing the damn thing. Right?
Do you So first of all, you said it was all on device. Not all of it is on device, right?
Right.
So
there is
private cloud compute.
Yes. So it is the same as previous years, where there is mostly on device, but some extended things go outside of the device. But it is I think, am I right in thinking the private cloud thing is either new or greatly expanded this year?
I think it's something they've been working on for a while,
Okay.
at least since 2024. So
Okay. And also, importantly, no token cost.
right, that is very important. Yes.
Yeah.
What happens if this doesn't work out?
I don't think that's an option.
What do you mean? Like,
I mean, I think that if Apple cannot solve
if in 6 months, come December, this doesn't, it's fine, but it's not great. What do they do?
Yeah, that's the problem, right? I mean, if you bring in an outside service that we all know is, for better or worse, Gemini is good, right? And if you can't, so if between two huge brain trusts of companies like this, if they can't figure it out and solve Apple's, I'll say problem, but if they can't make it good, like Apple and all of us want it to be, I don't know where they go from here. That's just it. I can't think of anything else, which is why I sort of don't want to entertain that it doesn't work this time. Right? Because at that point, it is a case of, well, then Apple, you have just, all the competitors are just running rampant over you. You're sort of done. From an AI perspective.
Or you're like Microsoft, right? Where you just, you miss the train.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, what would be the ideal world where they actually had, it seems so strange that they fell so flat on their face with AI, because they've invested so much in visual intelligence, and we've have all these Apple Silicon chips with names that sound like they're AI related, like Bionic and machine learning and all this stuff. And then they totally missed the boat on LLMs, and it's how,
I can't explain.
Yeah, what would that world even look like with Apple actually getting on board with LLMs like they were supposed to?
Yeah, I mean, even if it worked, okay, so here we go again. Even if it works 70% of the time, it's still good, right? We're like, okay, that's good. Because Lord knows I don't get 70% of good results with
Siri.
Yeah. It just doesn't happen. The only thing I've never had a problem with is when I ask her to read back my latest message. That's the only thing that works 100% of the time.
It pronounces everything correctly?
Oh, no. No. But it's close enough that I know what she meant.
Right. It's not to me. It's not a good sign that they have a wait list. If they said this is going to be ready, it should be ready. Stop trying to be oh no, it'll be ready on point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4. That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah, we can't have that. Not again. It's also interesting that I think they've made it harder for themselves, because I think in some of the screenshots I saw where you could actually, there was a couple of sliders and you could tweak the settings to be sort of do you want it, whatever your character.
Temperature?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you're talking about the voice.
Yeah, well, the voice, but also the temperature as well. And So it's like, wow, not only were you not meeting the goalposts, you've moved them further out. So if you get there, outstanding. But you've also made it harder for yourself, right? You know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I wanted to say about the Siri voice, I felt like it felt like an Apple of a different era, where it was like, oh, that's so cool, that like fun, quirky thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are you guys spending all this time on the stupid Siri voice when like it doesn't even answer the question right?
Right,
It's like,
right.
Like it's like that would be like Apple of 2017, 2014. Be like, oh, Apple, you're so hilarious. Now it's like Apple, you're talking about the colors of the wheels, but the car can't even drive.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
Like it's not funny anymore.
Right. The party finished when they removed being able to ask who let the dogs out, right? At that point,
Right.
it's like, you've killed it, you know.
Yes, yes.
So that's kind of where I'm at with it is I can't entertain it not working. And I'm hoping that inside Apple, they're saying the same thing, which is we can't have egg on our face again.
Yeah. Oh, can I mention one last thing?
Yeah.
Why I thought it was weird that Tim Cook presented. Like we didn't have a single thing with I can't even remember the new CEO's name.
John.
Why am I
Oh my God.
Turnus.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's interesting you mentioned that. I was wondering if it would be both of them.
Right.
So,
or something.
But Tim has never come across to me as a personable, like you felt about Steve or whoever, or anybody else for that matter. Like, God, I love seeing Craig on the screen. I mean, I will never get tired of that, right? And so when Tim did his thing at the end, I just sort of didn't believe it. And I thought, yeah, you know, you should have had John in here somewhere, because developers know about these things more than most other people, right?
Right.
And so now what are we going to do? We're going to wait until September or something, and like, oh, here he is. I did think there would be kind of at least a recognition of it.
Right. I mean, there was a recognition that this is more or less his last hurrah, but it was weird.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah, so folks, that was the keynote this year from the developer conference. So you know, I still think it's great. I heard everything that I was kind of hoping for, which is we're gonna fix the stuff, right? But you know, Leo, tell them where they can find you, buddy, and you know, all that good stuff. But folks, again, the Empower App Show, so much good. If you're a developer, you should know about it. Period. And if you don't,
thank you.
He's now going to tell you where to find Leo.
You can find the podcast at empowerapps.show. I'm on the interwebs at leogdion at c.im on Mastodon. And then my company's brightdigit.com. Check out all the stuff that I do there. Peter, I'm really happy we're still doing this. And it's good to see you again.
You too, buddy. You know, it's always fun. We do this, like you say, we do this every year. It's a lot of fun. It's a nice way to end sort of the keynote day. So yeah, thank you, Leo. And folks, absolutely go look at Bright Digit. If you need someone to help you with your apps, go talk to Leo. That's all I'm going to say. Just go talk to Leo, right? Trust me on this. I've known him for a long time at this point. And I fully endorse Leo.
Thank you.
That's it, folks. I will catch up with you in the next episode. See you later.
Or part 2.